Welcome back to the World Championship Series. We're here for day 2 and 4 of the European groups in Cologne, Germany. I'm joined once again by Neil Diamond and now Todd, the professional heroes of the Stormcaster. Welcome to the desk, boys.
Thanks for having me here. You know, I probably won't be singing tonight, but just providing some of my stylish tips.
I don't know if too many people know who Neil Diamond is, but they definitely know who you are, Todd. Welcome over from casting to the desk.
It was a good series, man.
It was a very entertaining series. I really enjoyed that one, actually. Good to see a laser go through in his debut to the winners match, and we'll see how far he can go. Let's take a look at the match screen here. We had match number 1 just completed. If you're just joining us, a laser has defeated Major in the first game of Group F. And our next game is a big one. It's the one that we've been looking forward to. The Season 1 champion comes to Cologne, Germany to compete in Season 2 for the Premier League, and he takes on, of course, the home crowd favorite here, TLO. This is a big match. It is a big match between these two, but before we talk about this series, we caught up with the Season 1 champion a little bit earlier on, and he had a couple of words to say.
I've won 3 times of WCS for now, and I'm planning to get trophies like till the number of 5. So I have to win 2 more times in this year, and I think I can do it. The reason why I get this consistency is I think it's the way how I practice. I mean, most of players just, as far as I know, they just try to practice. The build order currently is very good right now, or it's good in current meta. They don't really develop any strategy or think further. But I'm the one who really changed the meta and develop new strategies. I think that's why I get really consistent. I think it's very hard to say what I will decide at in the end of this year. There's very complex situations around me, myself. I mean, the Korean army things and my school things, and I have to think about all of the things, but I will announce it in the end of this year.
Welcome back. Season 1 champion there, Polt, had a couple of words to say. The only player to win 3 WCS titles, looking for his 4th this season. He says he can get a 5th as well. But interesting end to that interview there. He's considering what to do for the following year come 2016. But, you know, focusing on right now, he's in pretty good shape coming to today, Pig.
Absolutely. There were a few doubts earlier in the year about Polt's performance, you know, his shape. Some players were doubting him going into the round of 16 of Season 1, and we saw how that turned out, didn't we? He just kind of came through the competition and showed some stellar play, and even in the finals, he was down 1-3, came back and won 3 maps in a row against Hydra. And it goes to show, I think, the sort of player Polt is. He even said in that interview, he's got that strategic understanding of the game, that intuitive understanding, and I think that's part of why we see him dig himself out of a lot of holes, which other players would not really know. They just don't know the path forward, but Polt always finds a way.
Yeah, we've seen Polt compete for years and years and years. He's won tournaments in every single year that he's played in. He's a 7-time StarCraft II champion, and in this season, Todd, he stands out above the majority of players, for sure.
I think so, yeah. Even in his interview, like, it's really funny, you know, the way he went about explaining how it is for him in StarCraft II. He's like, well, basically, I'm a genius. I just like to revolutionize the meta from time to time, and then I'll be winning tournaments that way. It's pretty much what he said, and it's very true, you know. There is always, you know, this Polt build, which is especially a thing in Terran versus Zerg, which he's been really, really good at over the years, and I think he's going to carry over still for a very long time.
All right, well, we do have the map vetoes here, Pig, that we're going to be going through. So if you take a quick look at them and let us know what you think. You gave us some detailed explanations earlier, so hopefully you got something for us here between these two.
Yeah, of course, the vetoes for TLO are Varney Research Station and Iron Fortress LE. Interesting that he did veto Varney. That very much comes down to personal choice. I think it's partly the fact that drops are so strong on that map, harassment options with your bases being quite far spread apart. And with the maps there, I believe it was Echo map 1, and Coda, a couple of pretty standard maps, and
Yeah.
I believe was there an Expedition Lost in there as well?
No, Inferno Pulse, I think, second.
Oh, Inferno Pools. Okay, I didn't catch that there, but that's a very interesting choice. So normally that's a very dynamic map where it can be favored one way or the other. I would say cross map is going to be very, very good for TLO. He's going to enjoy having a lot of space. He's one of the few Zerg players, I think, who feels comfortable on that map with such a strange design and layout, because TLO is someone who thrives in that odd space. He really understands how to take advantage of each map.
Well, let's continue on that. Before we actually look at the first map here, which we will go into detail in a minute, let's talk a little bit about TLO, because we talked about Polt. He is a wrecking ball in his own right. He's got all these titles as of recently in the last year or so with WCS. He's looking at a 4th title. TLO, sorry. You know, he's got a lot of people that have come to watch him. I've seen his brother in the crowd. He's over there. I see you. Hello. He's come here to watch him as well. And there's a lot of people, of course, on the internet. Obviously, massive fans of TLO. Been a big name. But does he have what it takes to beat the champion up there?
It's hard to say, like, especially in front of this crowd. a lot of
You
the
can be
time,
honest, Todd. You can be honest.
a lot of the time when you see TLO like go up against these top Korean players, I kind of think that he's outmatched. But sometimes he's really delivered in the past. He's a top 8 finisher from last season. He didn't get there, taking an easy road or anything. So I do think on one hand that he has what it takes, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that he's the favorite. Surely.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to say he's the favorite here pick.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think it's a bit of a Pandora's box right now. I personally would love to see Dario pull out some really strong builds. I think, hey, he's got that crazy map in there, Inferno Pools. These are the situations he thrives in. He's been practicing very, very hard, and I think he just has that understanding of the game. If he plays the strong sort of styles he knows, he's got a lot of material to study. He's seen how Polt's playing. I think he's going to come out swinging, but can you stand up to Polt's mechanics? It's going to be a challenge.
Are we going to see that creativity in action?
We're going to see the efficiency of creep spread and overlord positioning from TLO. Looking at one thing though, when they've played together in the past, TLO's never won a series, he's never won a map. Everything is just leaned against him not to win this series. So how do you even combat that mentally coming up? You're playing against the season 1 champion, you're playing against one of the best in the league. How do you do that personally?
I think that's I'll take this one, Todd. I think that's a really, really, it's if you've got that in the back of your mind as a player, it makes it harder for you. If you're thinking, I haven't beaten him before, maybe I need to do something, special or crazier out there. I'd like to see a mixture of, yes, some smart, maybe some greedy plays, some aggressive plays, but I'd also like to see some relatively standard play from TLO. I want to see him bring out just strong, solid play, especially on the more generic maps like Echo, and I'd like to see him really indulge his creativity on Inferno Pools and see if he can surprise Polt there.
If this was a weekend or like 4 days long tournament, where you show up and you play a lot of opponents in a row that you don't know that you're going to play them, I'd say TLO is at a pretty massive disadvantage. But now this is a league. He's had some time to prepare. So I'm still going to say he's at a massive disadvantage, but a lot less than if he hadn't known that he was going to be playing against Polt here, especially as first. All right, playing a little bit with the camera here, but TLO back at DreamHack in France, I spoke a little bit with him after he lost, and he was telling me that here for WCS he was going to work very hard on his TVZ. And I asked him here again about it, how much he's been practicing. He told me he played a bunch. He told me he won no games against Bunny in practice, though. So.
Yeah, well, it is Bunny, I suppose. But I mean, one angle to look at it, if we're going to, try to look at ways TLO can win this, is he can say and rely on his Zerg versus Zerg. I think he's been quite comfortable in that over the last couple of months. He rode on it in season 1 back in France. And if he just says, okay, I can beat a laser, I don't have to practice for that, and then hone on against Terran practice, even though he doesn't seem to be able to beat Bunny, that's an easier way to approach this group, having Major and Polt in this.
Usually, when you're in a group like this, you focus on the race that you have 2 players off in your group. And if he was to lose here against Polt, then he plays Major. I mean, he's going to have to take at least 1 win against Terran to be able to advance.
All right, well, here's final question then before we go over to the caster's pick. Something that I think Polt has said in the past, best of 5, best of 7, he can take on anybody. Take on anybody in the world, doesn't matter who it is. Best of 3 though, very, very different type of series.
Yeah, Polt's not going to have as much room for error. He's not going to be able to have as many games to figure out, hey, what's my opponent bringing? What's TLO doing? How can I change to take advantage of that? So they're going to need to come out. Every map's going to be very important. Map 1, as always, is going to be very decisive. I think Polt, still the favorite here. I think he's just so strong, and he's actually diverged his play from the classic Polt builds. So it's a little bit harder to just go in and know what he's going to do. He's not as predictable. And that's part of what made Polt so strong in Season 1. If he's developed his play further from then, I think he's just going to have a very strong chance of taking this game out.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll see which way this series is going to go, because I know if it does go the German way, this roof is... Well, it's going to be loud in here, let's just say that. There's a lot of TLO fans, of course. A lot of people came here today to watch this group. And well, there's only one way to find out who's going to win. It's time to go to the commentators. It is, of course, Rotterdam and Colaris.
A fixture that a lot of people have been looking forward to here in Group F as Polt goes up against TLO. This is going to be a good one. TLO, though, he has got a mountain to climb, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Dario. Looking at the maps as well, I think the first map, Echo, is going to be a very good map for Polt. I think that's the kind of map where we're going to see Polt open up with a few Reapers, you know, and just like take it from there and probably play very safe, probably squeeze even a Banshee in before he goes into full Marine Marauder production just to control the pace of the game, see what's going on. But I am very curious what Dr. Dario has in store for us, because we know that he loves to bring special things to the table, and especially with Inferno Pools as a second map. I think if there's one map where we'll truly see something that we call unorthodox, it has to be Inferno Pools.
Yeah, he's got to have something cooked up going onto that map for a player like Polt. Having known for ages, or quite a while now, that you're going up against the Season 1 champion to start things off in the round of 32, being Dario of all people, there's got to be something. There's got to be something.
Mm-hmm. It's really funny. These two have quite a bit of history with each other, because of course these are, you know, veterans when it comes to StarCraft II. They've been around since 2010, 2011, and then they have played against each other multiple times, but in general they only play against each other once a year, like one time in 2011, one time 2012. Obviously, you know, those results are completely irrelevant by now, but it is funny, so it could very well be, if history repeats itself, that this is the only time this year that we'll see TLO versus Polt.
Yeah,
think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Esports history is being made over here, Colaris.
That's what it is, man. Thanks, Tasteless. Anyway, for now, he's making sure that he's well massaged as well going into this series. You're going to have to be well massaged and well relaxed if you're going to go up against someone like Polt. As TLO, the funny thing is that we saw that he did actually veto Vani Research Station, and I thought back to Season 1, where he kind of had that bop with 4GG actually beating him in the group stages in the round of 16, but then was still able to manage to advance onto the round of 8. I'm assuming by now, you know, he has, you know, kind of accounted for those kinds of things and been able to deal with it, but it really feels like with that kind of veto, which is a little bit more unorthodox, he's, you know, not really too favorable for the map.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a little bit of a strange period around Dario now, right? Like, because Dario in the past has always been someone who stands in the middle of the community. He's been always very vocal, love to write blogs and stuff as well about how he's doing, how he's feeling, you know, what he currently thinks is the best way for him to approach the game. And I feel over the last few months, despite that great performance in Season 1, because you almost forget about it, but he too made it into the round of 8. And it was only the first time since WCS 2013 Season 1 that he managed to go that far, as it's, of course, very difficult. That was a great result, and yet I kind of feel it's been a little quiet around Dario.
Well, it won't be quiet for much longer, Rotterdam, because we are here in Germany, and up to the top left-hand corner, it's our Season 1 champion. It is Polt.
Polt, please pause. The triple P.
The triple P.
That was not your fault, Colaris. That could have happened to anybody.
It could have.
But it's no coincidence it was you introduced.
I know. No, I'm sorry, man.
Just teasing. It's gonna be a cool. It's gonna be a cool series. I really wonder. Like, I think if you are Polt has never lost, by the way, in the round of 32. Not only has he been part of every single Premier League season, just like TLO, by the way. That is extreme consistency that you almost don't see across the board, because WCS has basically been running since 8 seasons now. You know, 3 seasons in 2013, 3 seasons in 2014, and this is already the 2nd season in 2015. So 8 seasons in a row, and Polt has never lost in the round of 32, and only one time, and that was in WCS 2013 Season 1, that he went out in the round of 16. Other than that, always at least quarterfinals. Like, how insane is that?
Yeah, it's a staggering number. It really is. To show that kind of consistency, of course, he's one of the most fearsome players in the entire Western Hemisphere at the moment. So no sniff at that kind of result at all.
And let's not forget that he's been spending quite some time in Korea as well. I had a little chat with Polt earlier just to see how he was doing, and he said he felt great. He's pretty much always happy. I've never really seen a moody Polt. I don't think it exists. The guy just wakes up with a smile on his face. Probably has something to do with the amount of success he's had in StarCraft II, because if you take a look at those career earnings, Polt has done very well for himself over the years. I think I would wake up very happy too with a bank account like that, Claris.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I think you were telling me before something like 359,000.
Yes.
That's a lot of money, and that's not from any salary or anything like that. Pure prize winning. So he's doing well for himself.
Never give up, never surrender. The dream is still alive, Colares. We're still grinding ladder games. One day I will earn my first dollars by actually playing this game instead of watching it.
Wow, perfect.
We're just gonna have to rehost this one real quick, guys. We apologize for the inconvenience. It seemed like a few settings were off.
Yeah.
We're just gonna recover the game. Shouldn't take longer than 30 seconds or so, and then we can finally continue our second series of the day. Of course, no Protoss today, but lots of Protoss in the upcoming days. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun, and I think the day that everybody's looking forward to is Group H on Sunday. Because you already know it's going to be ridiculous, and I think, Claris, you're going to lose it again.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it a lot, though, Group H. It's certainly, I've already said on Twitter, one of the most momentous occasions in StarCraft history will potentially happen on Sunday. That is quite the group. I didn't expect them to be drafted into the same group, Mr. Elfie and Mr. Haas, but it happened, the stars aligned, and that's on the way soon.
You know, TLO, as we can go back to this series, as we are pretty much good to go with our second series of the day. TLO has been streaming a little bit lately. I think all of the Team Liquid players, I think they're obliged by their contract that they have to stream X amount of hours per month. And I kind of wish they would stream more, man, because I love the Team Liquid streams. You know, whenever you watch Bunny or Snoot play, I mean, that's just a joy to watch. You know, that's absolute eye candy. And I love TLO's stream as well. I think he's always, you know, like charming. He's always in a good mood. And let's not forget about Mana's stream, in my opinion, one of my favorite Proto streams to watch in general. So we have seen streaming in a little bit, but other than that, it has been quiet. And of course, you know, these guys, whenever they stream, they don't show their back of the tongue. Like, it's like, yeah, you'll see the mechanics, you see a few of the styles they like to go for, you see their builds, but they won't reveal their entire hand.
That's true. All right, we're going to give Polt his fair dues again, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner. It's our Season 1 champion. It is Polt. And of course, down to the bottom right-hand corner, representing Germany, so you better raise the roof, it's Liquid TLO.
Wow. I can hear them from the other side of the building, Claris. We're pretty far away from where the audience is right now, but we can still hear them, sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's so many people in the building, by the way. It's like I feel like almost every single seat is taken. It's really fun to see that. It's awesome. It really makes the show so much more fun of being, you know, to be part of.
Yeah, pretty much full house today here at the ESL studios for WCS. As of course now TLO has got quite the task ahead of him, going up against a player like Polt, he doesn't need to really do anything gimmicky. He doesn't need to do anything extravagant and exuberant. He can play just his general go-to macro style and oftentimes overwhelm.
A 14 hatch instead of a 15 hatch. What does this even mean, Claris?
It's TLO, man. Anything.
He is so creative. Like, for years, people have been going 15 hatch, and now Dr. Darius shows up and he's like, guys, we've been doing it all wrong altogether.
Wow.
14 hatch is the way to go.
It took us all those years to realize that. Wow, Dario. Well,
squeezed out one more drone after that. Actually, two more drones, and now he's going to throw down the pool. I've seen a few games of TLO as I went through a couple of his old ZvTs today where he struggled against Reapers early on. Of course, you know, sometimes Terran players will drop their Rexes a lot quicker. This was a very normal opening from Polt. So this Reaper is not going to show up extremely early, but we'll see.
I'm just going to take his gas and make sure that he's well buckled down. I think he probably was expecting the Reaper opener with how he's opened up. I mean, obviously, having the slightly quicker hatch, slightly quicker pool, and all of these things will throw your opponent's timing slightly off about how they're going to have to receive this.
Yeah, I guess he's going to have a queen just a tiny bit quicker. But the game I was referring to was a game that was played at DreamHack just a couple months ago where TLO went up against Marine King and he really struggled with the Reapers early on. Took way too much damage, but of course Marine King is also a very different style of play than Polt is. Polt adding the reactor right now immediately after one Reaper. I've seen Polt open up with 3 Reapers very frequently, so I kind of wonder if he's still going to make them, but I don't actually expect that. So a single Reaper opening over here by Polt, and that's a little bit different because if you go back to his games that he played against Hydra, it was either command center first into like a lot of Hellions and Marauders and Marines, or it's a 3 Reaper opening, and now just opening up with a single Reaper, that's already a little bit different.
Just going to have to dance on out of there away from the Zerglings and just cancel the gas, making sure that John's going to keep alive and get back to work. Polt, though, smelling blood, just goes straight in for the weakened drone, and then obviously those Zerglings are doing pretty well for themselves.
Curious to see how greedy Polt is going to be behind this. He even dropped his command center on the high ground, by the way. I definitely think that's worth mentioning. It seems like Polt is a little bit paranoid. He's like, man, I know this TLO guy. He's way too creative. There will somehow be a way for him to get Zerglings to the other side of the map. My Reaper won't spot it. And then, you know, they might lose the SCV. Everything is going to be delayed. I'll be supply blocked. Because this is a very, very conservative opening by Polt.
Just getting the star pot behind all of this now, with their Hellions going to be coupling on. Of course, they don't quite have as much punch as they would have done if it had been a 3 Reaper opener. But other than that, I mean, you could see plenty.
Second gas is going down now as well at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm expecting him to just open up with probably a few Cloak Banshees here and there. I mean, a Banshee makes sense, especially if you're a little bit worried about your opponent, because you will always have some map presence. You always have eyes in the middle of the map. And if you have to worry about some crazy Roach Bane all in, how many games have we seen where it looks like the Zerg is going to absolutely crush the Terran on the other side of the map, but then there are just 2 Banshees on top of that army just wailing away, pushing out so much damage, and it makes you very safe against the majority of crazy openings that the Zerg can throw at a Terran.
Yeah, it's an amazing defensive tool. Very, very difficult to deal with unless for some reason you've walked the Queens away all the way over across the map. But that
if we're watching TLO, that's absolutely possible.
True. Well, this Reaper still darts on in. Actually spotted the layer very, very quickly. So its death was not entirely in vain.
That's true. He got a little bit of information, but he did die very early on there, and that's always a little bit unfortunate. You like to keep it alive, especially when you want to follow up with these Hellions, but of course, every single shot that these Hellions take, that is real damage. That's damage that's going to stay. But if you fly in with your Reaper first, and it absorbs a couple of shots, and then maybe your Hellions can get a few juicy shots off, you can send the Reaper back, it's just going to regenerate that HP. You know, I mean, he opened up with a single Reaper, it wasn't a 3 Reaper opening, so it's not really the end of the world, as Letot likes to say, but, you know, it's something for Dario.
Hellbat start here for Polt, and going up against 2-base Spire to start things off.
Did he get close? Oh, wow.
Didn't even go for a Banshee.
No, actually, he didn't go for a Banshee at all. He just decided to research Stim, so I was completely wrong about that. See, there's a little bit of Hellbat shenanigans over here. Has a couple of Marines, just 4 Hellions. No, okay, he has 8 Hellions. That changes everything, Claris. I want to say 4 Hellions, that's nothing, but 8 Hellions, you gotta respect that.
Oh yes, you do, because that packs a lot of punch. The Baneling Nest has only just gone down now in the main base.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for TLO is that he only has to worry about 2 locations. It's not like he has to worry about 3 locations just yet, but he has a Spine Crawler there. He has a couple of Queens, but I'm not sure if he's gonna have enough energy to really drop a couple of transfusions. It's really important that he's able to get a couple of shots off before this fight truly starts. You don't want to start fighting these Hellbats when they're already on top of your Queens. That Spine Crawler, by the way, is his absolute saving grace right now, because if he wouldn't have that, all of his drones would be dead.
A brief supply block there as well for TLO as the Viking in towards his main base did actually clean that up, so that was a small little victory there for Polt as he's dancing around here.
Yeah, Polt doesn't really want to commit, doesn't really want to run up that ramp just yet. He's going to transform them back into normal Hellions. He's going to drop a couple of Marines in the main base. He's going to try to distract TLO, but TLO having a couple of units there as well. Very good defense so far by Dario. Takes absolutely 0 damage.
And the 8 Mutalisks are on the way, and that puts a big timer on these units out in the middle of the field. Of course, there was that one Viking trundling around. Where is it actually gone? Maybe trying to find some Overlords here or there, but other than that, these Mutalisks are going to have a happy time.
Yeah, this is, I think, a pretty great start. Of course, his third base is very late, but there's not something that TLO really could have done about that. You can't really like go up to Mutalisk this quickly and have a Baneling Nest, be on 2 bases, then also defend all 3 bases at once. But I think he's quite happy with the fact that he didn't take any drone losses, didn't even lose any of his Queens. We know how good he can be when it comes to spreading creep. And with this amount of Queens out on the map, this could be a TLO party.
Yeah, they've found all of these Hellions. Even the Lings just coming in for the fight, so they just to slow them all down. Unfortunately, they can't stay still, otherwise they die even quicker to the Mutalisks, and the Lings couple up perfectly. I
kind of wonder what would happen if he would have Baneling speed right now and he decides to morph a lot of Zerglings into Banelings, because Polt, with the opening he went for, let's not forget, he made a lot of Hellions, he made a Medevac as well, he made an Armory. He doesn't have that many units over here. He doesn't have a bunker either, he doesn't have a missile turret.
He's only got 12 Marines. Only got 12 Marines out at the moment.
It's 50 army supply against 25. If TLO breaks down this wall, which he's going to try to do, he's not even going to wait for Baneling speed, he's not going to wait for +1. He takes a look in the main base of Polt and he's like, where are your units, bro?
Yeah, there's a lot more Lings in production as well. Extra Banelings being morphed in. This is going to supply block Polt, so how is he even going to be able to get out of this? 2 supply depots start at the very back, but the Banelings are going to walk into this and get out a couple of these Marines. In fact, every single one of them. Very well done here to start things off. Oh my god, SCV's absolutely destroyed.
And he's on top of the production, that's it. Every single
my
ring
God.
that is going to pop will pretty much get picked off immediately. TLO taking 0 damage from that opening, goes for a relentless counter and just wins game number 1. Wow, what a flawless game by TLO.
It's all about that ball, man. What is going on today? This is Zerg
Wow.
Day here, apparently. Wow, TLO taking the first game of Polt. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, and the way he did it as well, that was so solid. He had a really good read on the build that Polt went for. I'm kind of surprised that Polt didn't even try to do something with those helmets. Like, of course, TLO was very well set up with the queens and the spine, but I kind of feel if you open up like that, you should kind of do something with it. But TLO with those mutas, and he didn't even have that many Zerglings, but the links he did have, getting all those Hellions in the middle of the map, he's like, cool, you probably don't have a whole lot at home. Moors a few Banelings, flies in, he's like, you almost have nothing, I'm just going to go for it. And that was great. That was just great game instinct by TLO.
Very, very well done by him, taking the first game off the champion here in our second series of the day. We're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, it's game number 2 between TLO and Polt. From one crazy occurrence to another as we find ourselves on Inferno Pools for game number 2 after TLO was able to take a really quick victory there off the champion.
Yeah, and a pretty much flawless victory. I didn't take a look at the unit loss resource stat, but I know it wasn't very high. Other than those Banelings blowing up at either Marines or those supply depots, that was a very clean game. I kind of wonder what's going through Polt's mind right now. It's probably like, well, you know, like that was not supposed to go like this. I opened pretty safe. I opened up with a build where I was going to have a lot of map presence, and I thought I would be able to do some economic damage, but TLO, he read it so well, his 2-base Muda style, and I really think like getting those Hellions in the middle of the map, that was key, because if those Hellions are behind the supply depots, it's so much harder for TLO to even make that call. Like, do you really want to waste all your resources into Banelings and then maybe not do that much damage? And also, last but not least, I want to give credit for the way he handled that, because not only did he just run in there, he immediately split up his forces. Few Banelings in the middle line, few Banelings to the Marines, and the rest went up that ramp immediately, so he's always on top of the protection, making it so hard for Polt to defend. It was just a great game by a German Zerg.
Very, very well done. And once again, we do have spawning to the top left-hand corner. Here's our red Terran. It is CM Storm's Polt. And look at the top right-hand corner. Taking game at number 1, is one victory away from the winner's match. It is Liquid TLO.
That audience, they will keep on cheering.
Yeah. I can't believe we're on Inferno Pools. Of all maps to actually make it through the veto, I can't believe we're actually on it. I think this is the first time I've cast it here. Not only, of course, in the Premier League, but in Season 2, because I don't think we had much of it in the Challenger either.
Now, this is, of course, this is kind of TLO's fault, to say, quote-unquote. It's his fault, because he vetoed Vani, a much more standard map, and he said, I'd rather play Inferno Pools. I'll even pick it, you know what?
Yeah.
But I don't think he was hoping for these spawning positions. It's really funny, because every single time I talk with a Terran, they're like, oh yeah, if you get close spawn on the Inferno Pools, it's extremely good. You know, you just take 2 bases, then eventually you take the gold, and from the gold you just push towards the Zerg.
Yeah.
And the Zerg can't really do anything. But then every single time I actually cast it on these positions, it's always the Zerg all-inning the Terran, and the Terran not being ready for it, having like 3 Marines, then a Banshee, and 3 CCs and 2 E-base, while they're being Roach Bane all in. This is like, come on guys, like this is like the best spot for you. These are the best spawning positions you could have hoped for. Why do you go for a build that's that greedy? TLO is already doing something a little different. He's opening up with a very early pool. I think he was hoping for a CC first on the low ground, but
perhaps.
Well, he's not facing that.
Yeah. He'll eventually find his opponent as well with his Overlord that he sent in the correct direction. Obviously, you want to try and check in those close positions first to make sure if your opponent is there, you can kind of accommodate for that, as the hatchery has been thrown down as well. So
yeah, I really wonder how TLO is going to approach this. I feel by now almost no Terran is going to die to like a Roach Bane or a Zergling run by. Remember Maru versus Life, like game 7 or game 6 of the finals, whatever it was.
Game 7, man.
Yeah, game 7 on the Inferno Pools, close spawn, and then Maru like it doesn't have a proper wall. We saw Bunny against Snoot as well, which was I think the map that Snoot won in the quarterfinals of WCS Season 1. Also with a big Roach Bane all in, and I saw it one more time as well. I think Hydra against Polt also happened on this map with these spawning positions. I just can't imagine a world where Polt is going to play this very greedy and be susceptible to such an all-in.
I'll never forget that Life Maru series, man. One of the best series I've ever cast, and apparently a lot of other people agree because it's got a lot of views on YouTube, that series. Pretty crazy games indeed, but, well, can TLO pull something out of the bag now? He knows his opponent's up to the top left. He sent his Lings around to try and miss the Reapers, basically.
Yeah, this Reaper is going to take forever for this. Well, he probably knows after he spots the Overlord where the Reaper is coming from. Is Polt going to raise that depot? I guess he will. Dario is going to be a little bit disappointed when he sees that command center is once more being built on the high ground, even behind the supply depots. So these 4 Zerglings, they will achieve absolutely nothing over here.
Yeah, looks like they're on the hunt, really.
Gasless.
I mean, yeah, just trying to kind of get his economy really up and running very, very quickly. It's kind of ballsy play, to be honest with you.
From TLO?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because this is a pretty okay Reaper map as well. And I wouldn't have been shocked to see Polt opening up with 3 Reapers like he has done so frequently in the past. Now in game number 1, he only made a single Reaper. Reaper is going to hop in and will find the Queen immediately. Right now, this is very important because now Polt still does not know that TLO is gasless. He may expect it or he may think it's going on, but he doesn't know.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting how this is played out here. And Starport will now be added on. Looks like we'll probably get a tech lab going down here. And there is the potential for Banshees like there was last game. But, you know, you never know here. He could even just go straight to medevac.
He could go for a similar build as it is, I don't think the build is... that was close to getting us around. The slow Zerglings should, of course, never get us around off in the middle of the map against a unit that is much quicker. As we can see over here, this Reaper is having a field day. He will be able to pick off all 4 links. And I think by now, it's 6-minute mark. There is still no speed. If there's no speed right now, most likely there will never be speed. Unless it's like 6:10, 6:15, but that is really quite late already.
So quite the exuberant start when we compare TLO to the norm, but he's getting away with it, which is really interesting.
Is he actually going to try to take the gold? Dario?
Don't say the C word! Okay, well, yeah, the gold base is on the way, and now I'm not sure that this is going to...
I'm not sure how he's ever going to defend this. There is a Banshee on the way. It's safe to say that Creep is nowhere near close connecting to that base. I guess the only thing he can possibly do is let that hatch finish and then squeeze out a drone and then drop a Spore Crawler immediately.
Yeah.
But there is so much surface area around there in the middle of the map. Banshees can attack that hatchery from 360 degrees. So you would need 3 spores to even protect it against Banshees. I have no idea what TLO is cooking over here, but it better be very good.
Jeez, this is interesting to say the least. The Reaper's even just poking around, sees double evolution chambers, sees Roach Warren at the top of all of this. And with Carapace already started, no doubt range is going to be coming in soon if this Roach Warren actually... Well, I mean, there's potential, of course, it could go for melee, but I'm expecting roaches. I'm expecting quite a few roaches, to be honest.
I'm so lost, though. How is he ever supposed to keep this hatchery alive against this Banshee? I think he's just going to cancel it. There's absolutely no sense in keeping this alive. But even after this, maybe it's just one big bait or something. He's like, hey, shoot at this hatchery. In the end of the day, it only cost him 75 minerals. And of course, the minerals that he did invest in this, because he's spending 300 resources that he could have spent elsewhere. But at the end of the day, it's only 75 minerals and a drone, so maybe it's 125. He's throwing down a bunch of spores. These Banshees are going to be very annoying, though. We know how good Polt can be maneuvering these things around.
I really like your point about that. Maybe it is a bait, because right now that bought him time to have some extra roaches out, his Spore Crawlers are now finished. All of these things might not necessarily have happened because they got so close in terms of their spawning positions.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, Rotterdam. I like that.
Or maybe it was just that he was hoping for the same build as in the last game, and then he can squeeze out enough roaches and somehow push back the Hellbats, but... Maybe it was just all right, please don't make a Banshee, please don't make a Banshee. You don't know. Maybe if he wins, we can ask him.
Yes.
I'm sure Pig is very curious as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Queens are all...
Or he knows and he's just damn it, Kalaris and Rotterdam, you guys know nothing.
I wish I was casting this series. Well, also doing quite a bit of damage here.
Okay, that's not all that bad.
Ooh.
Wow.
Thankfully, his layer timing was in a perfect spot, and this Overseer is able to help out quite a lot. And he's... He's actually losing a lot of those Hellions.
Wow, this is quite sloppy for Polt. Also losing one of these Banshees. He stopped making Banshees, so let's not forget, there's only a single Banshee left right now. The TLO is producing nothing but roaches. I think he's just going to march across the map with only roaches, and he's probably even going to rally Queens across the map as well, because he was reproducing Queens. And with only one Banshee, if Polt has 3 Banshees over here, I don't think this is ever going to work.
The bunker needs to stay alive, so does this wall as well. He's going to lose quite a few SCVs to this. I don't think he'll ever lose the bunker at this point because he's done so much damage to the amount of roaches that are actually there in the SCVs, but he lost 4 SCVs.
Yeah, and good hold position as well on these SCVs, making it quite hard for roaches to get in range of that bunker, and that bunker has 2 Marauders in it. There are 2 more Marauders out there. As scary as this looked at first, now I have to admit it doesn't really look all that scary anymore. It's still a lot of roaches, but we all know what Marauders do to roaches.
Yeah, they will be able to shred them up eventually, so just focus down as many SCVs as you can here. Maybe get some of the Marauders in turn, and actually, the roaches have survived for quite a while. They had Carapace, I believe, right? So they have been able to kind of stall out this death for a while and get themselves another 8 workers.
Yeah, I don't think that's really good enough, though. I mean, let's not forget that 3rd command center is already done. It's currently being morphed into an orbital command. Once more, we see this very, very ambitious gold hatchery going down. I mean, I guess at least what TLO is saying over here is I will never let you take this space and just push easy towards me. But then again, now Polt doesn't really have to run very far at all to put a lot of pressure onto TLO. The only thing that's good for TLO is that just the E-base are only going down right now. So Polt exactly did what we were kind of talking about in the start of the game. Don't play stupid greedy. But this does mean that his upgrades are a little bit later.
This Bioforce shouldn't be here. The thing is that with the amount of roaches he's had and then even be able to replenish as well, he can't really punish this gold base at the moment, which is bizarre, especially if he continues making units. He's got Queens on the way. He could actually start marching those across. As crazy as that was in the first game that we were mentioning, the bunker falls, and the roaches are being traded off now. Killing off these many numbers and thinning that number out is at least a little bit more of a stable position for Polt. But
I mean, he has picked off a handful of Marauders. He has picked off 5 Marauders. But if we open the units lost resource step, or the amount of units that have died, like 37 roaches have died already in this game, and that can't possibly be good for our German Zerg, who's supply block now as well.
Yeah, well, here's Burrow. He's healing up these roaches again. He actually has centrifugal hooks on the way. He could just try and go with Ling Roach Bane eventually when he has centrifugal hooks and try and bash down.
Oh my god, that supply block is so big. Look at how long, like we mentioned 20 seconds ago that he's been supply blocked, and now there are 6 Overlords on the way. This is just one of these moments where you queue up an Overlord, you're like, almost, and then suddenly you have 6 Overlords on the way.
Yeah.
This was a very gnarly supply block.
I'm really surprised he let that Banshee die there for Polt. I mean, that was kind of his insurance policy, saying, well, you've always got a timer on your roaches, ha 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 ha. But at the moment, he doesn't quite have that. It's all up to the bio, which, to be honest, has gained a lot of momentum now.
I like this as well, just trying to avoid this gold base, which is obviously where the majority of the forces from TLO will be. He can poke at the front, he can take out some Q-Tumors, maybe pick off a queen or two, but as he's going to present a serious problem in the main base for TLO as well, where I don't think he has a whole lot of units. Actually, the base is completely exposed.
Killing off one of the roaches at the back there. These banelings and roaches will try and plow off against this, but with Stim now finished and this drop here as well, Polt has really stabilized now. Despite the crazy start to this game, I'm not sure how he's going to be able to clean this up too easily.
Transfuse over there being used. One of the roaches will stay alive for a little bit longer, but this is almost the beginning of the end, as so many Zerg players know it, where you can't really do what you wanted to do. Like, if he would have been able to get those tumors down there, then it's already a little harder for Polt to push him back. Then Polt always has to worry about those banelings, because they will still have their little launch pad where they speed off creep and try to connect with your bio. Right now, Polt, I think, is in a phenomenal position. He has to be a little careful, because the majority of Polt's units right now are in medevacs in the middle of the map. Of course, this drop has potential to do crazy amounts of damage in the main base of TLO, but Polt has to make sure that he doesn't lose too much at home.
It's been at pretty much the 40-ish workers mark at the moment for a long time.
Here.
And yeah, absolutely nothing. You're right. To be able to try and deal with this, TLO is just going to go straight for the throw.
Oh my god.
That's such a well-fortified position already.
That's Fort Knox, mate. Like, all these Widow Mines, all these bunkers, supply depots as well. These roaches, yes, there are quite a few roaches, but that can't possibly be enough for the German Zerg.
Yeah, they melt away. Polt is going to be able to take this one 1-1 here in game number 2. As he's able to tie up the series. It was a really interesting play that TLO actually brought there, but unfortunately, suffice to say, Polt, he's pretty good at reacting to any kind of situation.
Yeah, I really think that TLO was hoping for him to not open up with a Banshee. I think, like, without Banshees, maybe it's possible for him to actually save that hatchery, because he will get a lot of roaches, and we all know how well roaches can trade against Hellbats, especially, if you have more than 5 roaches, then like almost any amount of Hellbats is no problem. You can just kite them, you can pick them off one by one. Hellbats are a lot slower than roaches, but those Banshees created a huge problem and made it impossible for TLO to secure that gold base early on.
Well, what is left in TLO's magical massage ball now? Because going up against Polt after he's been able to stabilize like that, and you're going onto a map like Coda, where Polt is probably going to feel a bit more comfortable going up against TLO.
Yeah, the most standard map in the map pool right now.
Yeah.
As many people have already said it, Coda is pretty much the new overgrowth. Not a whole lot of people are going to veto it. We're going to see it very often. I'm definitely not sick of it yet. I think Coda has presented a lot of very entertaining games over the last few weeks to watch. And I think to play, it's a very enjoyable map as well. It's a good Reaper map, of course, because there's a lot of surface area where you can jump into the main base. Also, for Protoss makes it a fun blink map, and any map where you can blink into the main base, well, it creates good opportunities, Kalaris.
You like
creates fun games.
Blinkstalkers are pretty cool. They're pretty cool. All right.
If you're on the right side of things.
Yeah, if you're on the right side of things. And then if it's PvP, it's just weird. But for now, Polt is joining the lobby as well here for Coda. And we expect nothing less of the Season 1 champion than to just take the victory. But TLO has presented quite the problem, quite the conundrum for this little genius to solve. And he is quite the genius, let's face it, is Polt. He's never really fallen out of the meta, out of the top upper echelons of StarCraft. He's always been relevant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even a couple of times where you feel like, Polt is still very good, but he's not that good anymore. Then he always comes back and he wins the Premier League tournament. It's absolutely insane what he has done over the last few years. Now a truly one. They're going into game number 3. Not a single game so far. Polt has opened up with 3 Reapers. If you see the way that TLO opened in the last game, if he would have faced a 3 Reaper opening, that would have been so frustrating. It would have been so difficult for him to always have his queens in the right positions, because he did not get Zergling speed. And even in game number 1, TLO had a pretty unique approach to how he wanted to defend at first. So, you know, I think we're going to see 3 Reapers over here from Polt.
Well, let's get into it. This series is going all the way as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner. It is Captain America himself. It is Polt. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, 1 map away from advancing on to the winners. It's our Team Liquid player. It is TLO.
Well, lost in game number 2 or not, this crowd is still very loud. We can still hear them all the way from the other side of the studio. It's been amazing. Yesterday was very fun. Today it's been great so far. I have absolutely no idea who's going to make it out of this group. Of course, Polt, you know, he's still the top dog. Even after dropping map number 1, you can't look at Polt and be like, well, I know you made it to the round of 8 in 7 out of 8 seasons, or 6 out of 8 seasons, and 1 time round of 16. But I think right now, today is the day you're going to lose in the round of 32. Like, that would just be crazy. Nobody would, you know, expect that. But the second place, or you know, like the second person to advance, I really think it's up for grabs. Elazer showed us some great stuff in his first series of the day. Major is still Major, and I even had a little chat with him. He still seems very confident. And with TLO, we also know that he's capable of making great runs in WCS. So I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, TLO's runs in WCS, I feel, have been underestimated for the most part. Whenever you think of like the top finishing non-Koreans in WCS, you're thinking of people like in the past, like Vortex, for example, and Wellnu in Europe doing very well. But TLO, you know, he's quietly gone along his own business and done pretty well in all those seasons himself. So, of course, now going up against Polt here, if he were able to take this victory, the entire group would have been turned on its head with what we saw from Elazer before as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, and let's not forget that TLO has a pretty damn good record overall in ZvT. It's a matchup that he loves to play. Of course, last season Hydra was the final destination for him. But I mean, that's Hydra, you know, losing against Hydra in ZvT does not mean by any means that you're bad at the matchup. So if TLO would somehow be able to squeeze out a victory over here in game 3, then our winner bracket match is going to be TLO versus Elazer. Like, if you would have predicted in the start of the day, you would have said like, well, go back to Heroes of the Storm, you. Like, you're not a StarCraft fan.
Thanks, man, I will.
No, that was not you in particular. Like,
I know, I'm joking around.
It was too Todd.
He does love his ZvT. Anyway, Reaper on the way now, as it will head on over across here for TLO to deal with. But Queen is already in production with the Lings as well. So did he bust out the early the 14 hatch and 14 spawning pool again? I didn't quite catch the numbers.
Yeah, it's quite standard. Like, it wasn't too different from what we saw earlier. His extract is a little late. Like, he's not gonna have speed early on, but we've already seen before that he just does not worry about crazy Reaper aggression. Polt once more just makes a single Reaper. It's really fun because this opening is different than what he used against Hydra. Also not a single CC first being used in this series. Also a little bit surprising. Polt's showing us that he's been changing it up a little bit. I mean, that's what he did mention in his little interview that we played before this series started, where he said, like, you know, a lot of people just try to play the current meta, and I always try to come up with my own things, and I think that's why I'm so successful. Oh, he's showing us some variation already today. Oh, that would be such a great pick off TLO, and I think he's gonna get it. Great.
Oh, wow. Nice. And the thing is, he left in gas as well. He hasn't started speed, and he left in gas. So what is he up to? Layer is so fast. 5-minute layer, skipping gas, and continues to mine gas as well. Uh-oh.
It's hard to get your layer a whole lot quicker than this. It's safe to say, could be another 2-base Muda opening. Anything else would be very wild, I guess. I mean, he has freedom to go up to 3 hatcheries a lot quicker than he did on Echo if he truly wants to, after taking care of this Reaper. This is a very uncomfortable position for Polt to be in. Like, this is one of these moments, right, where we as observers, we just look at it, you see production tab, you see, all right, everything is standard. If you're Polt right now, that is the last thing you're thinking of. Like, everything is standard. You're like, oh, damn it, why did I lose that Reaper? Like, should I be worried about a Bailing Ball? Should I be worried about the ridiculous amount of Zerglings? Can I send out my first 2 Hellions? What if they get surrounded? You know, it's very uncomfortable not to have any map presence whatsoever as a Terran player.
Yeah, you're totally right. So far, everything has lined up brilliantly for TLO, especially with the Reaper kill. And now, as these Hellions do dart on across, I wonder if he looks at these Lings eventually and says, hey, you don't have speed yet. There must be something going on, because not seeing them without speed, there must be something.
Yeah, this is 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course, with most builds, you will already have speed. Like, speed in general, it depends on when they throw down the extractor, but let's say average between 550 and like 650, the latest. So Not seeing any speed right now. Polt is probably be able to put the pieces together immediately. And let's not forget about game number 1. That's still very fresh in his memory.
Right, well, speed is now on the way after starting.
That's a great scout by TLO. He scouts that Stim is going to be already researched. It's pretty similar opening to what Polt did on Echo, but there is no armory just yet. And I don't think he's going to make the same amount of Hellions. Well, does he already have 6? Actually, he's pretty much doing the same thing. He already has 6 Hellions. There are 2 more on the way. But yeah, this is pretty much a mirror image without the armory then. There is no armory, but other than that, it's very similar to what we saw on Echo.
I mean, how big a problem is it here for Polt that he doesn't even have an engineering bay yet going up against this? The Spire's just about to complete.
I mean, that can definitely be a problem, because especially if he ends up losing some of these Marines, he has to be very careful. But I love TLO's scouting so far. Again, leaves a couple of units in the main base, just like he did on Echo. Let's not forget that one moment where Polt tried to drop, you know, that did absolutely nothing. But if Polt drives all of these Hellions into the natural right now, there is no wall off, and I don't feel there is the same amount of Queens as we had before. These Hellions have potential to do a lot of damage over here.
One Queen's going to block off the ramp here, right in the middle of it, making sure he can't really do much more. The Mutalisk is going to pop and then eventually clean all of this up. But obviously now all of the plans have been revealed, and this will buy him a little bit of time to get that going.
Yeah, but so this is brilliant by TLO. I cannot believe how few Zerglings he had over there and how little he lost. I don't think he lost a single drone.
No, I don't.
Well, that is absolutely ridiculous, because he didn't even have an overwhelming amount of Zerglings. He had just a few, an absolutely phenomenal Zergling positioning over there, blocking the pathing a couple of times. TLO not losing a single drone against 8 Hellions. Are you kidding me? This is phenomenal. This is great for him again.
And now he has complete map control. How are you supposed to deal with all of these lings, all of these Mutalisks in the middle of the field?
That is one of the best defense I've ever seen against that amount of Hellions with such few Zerglings. I cannot believe how well Dario did that.
Gonna dive in here, trade off against a few of these Marines and just allow those Zerglings at the front to try and fight away at that wall. If he could have broken through, it would have been amazing.
Medevac pick up maybe, or at least a couple shots here and there. Like the Marine count is so low, it's very good. That missile turret protecting the production facilities, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
But still, these mutas are already doing work, and let's not forget about that hatchery going up on the other side of the map, completely uncontested.
TLO playing furiously at the moment, knows that he is in a great position here.
I did not expect this so far. Like TLO, this is great. This is absolutely awesome play by him. Not making any mistakes whatsoever. Even saving that Mutalisk as well, you know, not being sloppy, right, Dario?
Well, it's in the end, I mean, we've seen, even yesterday we saw a very, very quick layer in this matchup, and somehow, some way, they are doing very well for themselves.
I mean, just look at Polt's vision right now. If you take a look at what does Polt see? Polt sees absolutely nothing. This is not how a Terran wants to play. Polt would love to like try to fly out, but he also knows that TLO is on track of everything. Contaminate being used on the factory. Dario doesn't want to worry about the ridiculous amount of Wither Mines just yet. Of course, the bailing nest is a little bit late. The bailing speed is going to be very late, but if he gets some creep threat going, I think he should be okay.
In the end, though, with how this game has played out so far, Rotterdam, has TLO slowed down Polt enough to have a sizable lead here? How does it work out?
Yeah, I think this has been going great for TLO. I mean, this is going to be, of course, a very important phase in the game right now. Will TLO take a bad engagement over here? Because he's not going to have bailing speed. And against a player like Polt, we all know that he can split like a madman.
Yeah.
So TLO has to be very cautious here. But the timing in his favor, look at the work count, 63 against 49. TLO is not forced into some sort of a bad engagement. He needs to just buy a little bit of time, get more bailings, and eventually get a right engagement. This is the moment where Polt really has to make the difference with his control. And we do know that he's capable of doing that.
Good transfuse, keeps that spine crawler alive for a little bit longer, as he does know now where the positioning of these Marines are.
And he also has 1-1 on these Marines, and Combat Shield is finished up, while Dario does not have 1-1 yet on his Zerglings and Melons.
Would love to have that. The Zerglings need to get a good wrap around. He could pick all of these up and get out of there. The boosts on out, but that's so low is that medevac.
Polt playing with fire over there, having some precious cargo in that medevac. This is not the phase in the game where you want to lose 8 Marines, but he was able to get away with it. But TLO did not take any drone damage, didn't lose any Mutalisk, didn't lose any bailings. Now his upgrades are done, and Centrifugal Hooks is almost done, so he's going to have bailing speed going into the next fight. I still think Dario is quite happy with his position.
Polt has no third base up and running at all either. He has a command center, of course, but it's not over there at all.
Yeah, this is a little bit risky though, sending all of these Mutalisks to the other side of the map while there is a pretty big army knocking on your front door. Polt was going to spot that as well. There are a few Widow Mines in the mix. Dario is going up to 4 bases on the left bottom side of the map, but you know, this is not going to be easy, especially with the way that Coda plays out and these ramps in the middle, those Widow Mines being part of that army over there. This is hard to engage.
Yeah, oh, definitely. The Widow Mines are positioned in such a nice location. Getting a few of the Zerglings down towards the south of that. The Mutalists are going to swing in from the back here to try and go for cleanup, and actually he will clean up everything. TLO here with an army supply advantage, with worker advantage, economy advantage. Everything is going pretty well here for TLO.
Has to be careful that he doesn't overextend though here. Like, that was great. He was able to clean it up, but don't chase those medevacs too far. There are quite a few Marines over here. Bailey's trying to get connection. Seems like the Mutalists were... Oh, that Widow Mine. Almost a 4GG Stefano moment over there.
Yeah, if there'd have been more Widow Mines there, it could have been catastrophic. But now he has to drop some of these units to help out against this. There's a few more Widow Mines behind all of that, but he keeps getting some units.
Look at the supply. He picked up a lot of very expensive... You look at these Widow Mines. All of the medevacs have died. Polt had 5 medevacs. Now he has none.
He's 50 supply at the moment in army. He only has 8 Marines. He can get onto this third base. Oh dear me. This is a disaster for Polt. The Season 1 champion at the moment is being bested by TLO. Aggressive banelings are being morphed in. These few Marines are the ones that he really only has left available. And the Mutalists are doing absolutely huge work.
Man, TLO has played so incredibly good in this game. This is one of the best ZvTs I think I've seen of him so far. It's just so clean. Everything he did, it was so crisp, so clean. He's now on top of the production almost.
This is it.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be almost impossible for Polt. He's down 40-50 supply. Doesn't really have any Marines anymore. What a game by Dario.
He has 3 Widow Mines, or actually 2 Widow Mines now. One of them ended up dying off once again, killing off a few more supply depots. If TLO can just bring a few more Lings, a few more Banelings to the front here, he can finish this off.
I mean, he's going to have his 2-2 upgrade soon. Let's take a look at the third orbital. It's not even on location anymore. Like, TLO doesn't have to break this natural. He doesn't have to run in and try to fight in range. Oh, okay, that's a little bit fluffy. Maybe getting a little excited over there because he knows what's going on. Oh, wow, those Banelings. Man, it was a bait. It was a magnet.
Well, Mutalisk gonna fly into the main base, kill off the missile turret, get all these SCVs as well. Brilliant play here by TLO so far. Oh, if he could get an eBay, if he could slow down 3-3, that would be the icing on the cake. He gets the +3 weapons, kills off even just some of these Marines. Doesn't want to sacrifice the Mutalisk, but as I said before, once his ground army gathers all of that pressure, I don't know how he's gonna win.
No, I mean, like, TLO has so much map vision. He has so much map presence. He has that 4th base as well, completely uncontested. I don't think Polt has even seen it once. He probably knows that it's going to be there, but he has never even been there. He has not. It's not been possible for Polt to even go there. That one Widow Mine has a ridiculous amount of kills, by the way. I don't know how many times. Well, 14.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it was worth its money.
Yeah, did well for itself. And now a 5th base goes down for TLO, who realizes, just as you said, I don't really have to kill him right now. He's slowed down +3 weapon. I think he actually cancelled +3 armor to get +3
I was literally just thinking about like bringing it up as well. It was funny to see how Polt lost the eBay that he definitely didn't want to lose. So then he cancelled +3 armor immediately, and he started +3 attacks because he's like, well, +3 armor is great and all, but if I have to choose between one or the other, I definitely want the attack. I mean, we all know that Polt is the king of comebacks. That's a little bit of a cliche in StarCraft II, but, you know, whenever Polt is behind, he's actually winning. It's going to be almost impossible for him to win this game, but we have said that before. Army supply, Polt is at 85, and Polt with 85 army supply is still very scary.
That Widow Mine field, quite large. A few of them are actually burrowed here, and he doesn't really have too many Marines at the front. 37 in total. There's not that many Banelings, though. Only 13, not really with this army. He's trying to trade off where he can. I guess it's just trying to keep Polt pinned down.
Well, here are the majority of the Banelings right now for TLO. You can just blow up this mineral line, maybe even go for the orbital command, as there's a lot of Mutalisk over here as well. The SCVs, of course, can't repair this orbital when there are Banelings idling below it.
Oh my god, the command center falls. He doesn't really have many Marines behind this as well. He only has 8 Marines on the field. This is it for TLO. I can't believe it. What we are witnessing. The Mutalisk even just going for the full-on engagement as well, with the Zerglings doing some damage on the ground. And Polt is to 60 supply against TLO in the 2nd series of this group. Unbelievable stuff.
When Banelings are morphing in your natural, you know you're in a lot of trouble as a Terran player, because that's not where they are supposed to hatch at all. Thor is going to try to save the day over... Oh, don't attack the rocks. That's something... Man, these rocks have been having a rough day. Like, Elazer was shooting at them, Major was shooting at them.
Yeah.
or the plates, I should say, but I'm almost lost for words. This is not it yet. Like, this is just the first group, or the first series for these 2 players in this group, so, you know, both of them could still technically advance or be eliminated, so we're not going to try to make this bigger than it is, but the performance of TLO has been close to flawless. He has played so incredibly well in this game.
Yeah, we mentioned before, this room's pretty much been turned on its head, and 100% of the moment it has. This is ridiculous what we're seeing in these first 2 series of the day.
A winner's match in Group F between TLO and Elaser. Like, well, I wonder what the odds for that one were. Because
Probably quite low.
Yeah.
Should have taken that bet, Roddy.
yeah, well, that's the story of my life, James.
Oh well, gets himself another engineering bay. +2 or 3 armor is denied. Only going to stick around +2 weapons for a while. There technically is another engineering bay, but the income is absolutely mammoth here for TLO in comparison to Polt.
I mean, Paul doesn't want to give up. He has made so many remarkable comebacks in his career, but he knows that, out of all the comebacks, this would probably be the one that's most remarkable. As even Adreno glances on the way, TLO is almost doubling the supply of Polt. 99 against 180. He's on 5 bases. Hasn't really been focusing on his creep threat too much, or his injects for that matter, but does that truly matter when he's been killing SMVs left and right, when he's always been attacking? And even the way he engaged into those 7 or 8 mines, that was beautiful, man. That was not easy to engage in, but few links here, few links there, overseer here and there, and all of these mines did not get the connections that they were hoping for, the connections that you need as a Terran to come back in this game.
There's a lot of blue on the minimap moving around in every single direction here as TLO looks to set himself up a game-winning move. Catches some of the Marines to the left-hand side. Doesn't want to go too far. Those Widow Mines, that didn't do too bad.
For some reason, I am getting kind of scared for TLO now again. It's like, you see Paul, he actually has 80 army supply. There are a lot of Bailings over here. There's even a little bit of creep. That's going to make it easier for him to get some great connections. I mean, Paul, of course, is incredibly broke compared to TLO. He's been on 5 bases.
There's not many more units. There's not many more at all. Only 10 Marines remain here on the field. He has to pick up the Thor, get out of there. There's actually no more Mutalisks at all, so it's only Zerglings and Banelings that need to finish this off. Paul has been holding on like a champion because he is one, but there you go. GG! As TLO takes this series 2-1. The upset is real, but not for Germany. They are loving it right now.
Can we say that this is the upset of the season so far? TLO, of course, he was a quarter-finalist in Season 1, and that is definitely a remarkable run. And that shows, normally you could say any quarter-finalist can also take out the champion in a best-of-3, but I mean, our reigning champion, Paul, the 3-time WCS champion, losing his first series of the day now. And let's not forget, in the lower bracket match, will go up against a player that probably out of all the Premier League players may actually have the best record against Paul, because Major has done very well. Has won more maps against Paul than the other way around. I'm really lost for words. I did not expect this at all.
What kind of a ridiculous result would that be if Polt actually falls out? Let's not say that just yet, though, as we now head over to the winner of this series. It is TLO over at the analysis desk.
Thank you very much, Colaris. Must feel pretty nice. Must feeling pretty good.
Well, it's not advancing from the group yet, so it's nice, but in the end it means nothing yet.
Oh, still very focused there, Dario. That last game, I could see you very focused. I mean, looking over there, just very concentrated on what, the final job was to finish that. But we've known Polt, and just Polt does not surrender. He's made some remarkable comebacks. We talked about this earlier on. I mean, were you at a certain point very confident that this was over, or were you really focused on going to the distance?
Well, when I took the 3rd, I was quite sure I'm gonna win, but then at some point I started throwing a few units, so I stepped it back a notch because I was afraid I'm just gonna keep attacking into him, and he's really good at defending. So then I just retreated a bit, macroed up, kept calm, and then when I just had too much, I went in again.
There's one question. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier on today, or yesterday I think it was, and I asked you, so, how you doing, what's up? Like, well, I've been practicing against Terran, and unfortunately I just have not done very well.
Yeah.
You weren't too confident, but you come up, you just beaten the Season 1 champion.
Well, it has a reason I didn't feel so good, because I practiced with Bunny and I didn't take not a single map of him in practice. Never. Like, he just crushed me again and again and again. And I got super frustrated. I was like, okay, this is, gonna write to David Kim on Facebook, this is not going the way it should be, but, obviously Bunny is sick. And especially in practice, his level is like as high as of, very high caliber Koreans. And, well, Polt is very good, but he's a little bit predictable because he tends to do a lot of 2-base pressure builds and 2-base muta, as Hydra showed in the past, is really strong against that. So that kind of was a game plan. Especially when his Reaper died in the third game, I knew I'm just gonna, Muta is the way to go here again.
Okay, well, you mentioned it yourself. There's still a long way to go yet in this series. It's not over yet. And I mean, before we go into replay analysis, which we will do in a second here, Pig, let's talk a little bit about this winners match then. So I don't know if really many people thought it'd be you versus Laser in this winners match, but you've been telling us over the last couple of months, Zerg versus Zerg, you're okay here, you're confident here, you're comfortable.
Well, I played against Laser a lot lately as well in ladder, and he's extremely strong. Like, his name is a lot smaller than his skill at the moment. So, it could go either way, definitely. But I also did not expect the CVC to be in the winners match, so I'm actually really looking forward to it. Laser was extremely confident it's going to happen, me against him. So, I made his wish come true.
Two brothers for life, they're sticking out there.
One Zerg is going to go through, so every other Zerg is not happy because that means no patch.
Just keep waiting, TL. I know you've got David Kim on speed dial if need be. Pig, please, we're going to go through a little bit of a replay segment, TL. It's awesome to hear some thoughts from you.
Okay, so we are going to just put up a replay here of that final game. We really liked how you were kind of shutting down the aggression in game one. But at this point specifically, we are just going to play that replay now. And I want you to walk me through your defense here, because it was so tight. We thought you were going to lose a lot of drones. What were you thinking as you went through this moment?
Well, to be honest, I was a little bit scared because I felt like I don't have enough links in my main to take care of the drop, but it was barely enough. And a lot of times I die in this situation in practice because I'm too lazy and don't have my queen on the ramp, but this time I actually, was playing properly. And then if the Hellions go in too deep, that's kind of just what happens. If he goes directly for the natural with his Hellions, I think I'm a little bit more trouble. But he was trying to do the main run by, which was very lucky for me, and, went pretty well from here.
And if we could actually rewind that one more time just to watch that engagement. I did want to point out a few of those little things. You said it just happened, but there was so many little things you did there. The queen on the ramp, if we can take a look at that. Also, just the Zerglings, they came in with their surround so well. So we're going to zoom back just to that moment here. And let's watch that one more time quickly and just look at this. It's really quite interesting watching these Hellions. And we can see them come in there, the queen just very quick hold position there. And I really liked your Zergling control here. I'm not sure if this was a little bit of luck, a little bit of good micro, but just look at this beautiful spreads from you coming around there. And those Hellions just can't get the angle. And you almost denied it with slow Zerglings there.
Yeah, well, there's a little micro trick I like to do, which is like indirect control of the Zerglings. So I send them to a spot on the map which I know they're gonna automatically spread because of building in terrain, and then I send them into to the Hellions. You don't want to directly engage on the Hellions, because in StarCraft II units then tend to clump up. So you want to it's kind of like magic boxing with keeping terrain in mind.
Magic boxing the Zerglings, Dr. Creative Dario.
Obviously.
We're going to move down through to another point in the replay now. You got a very nice position from there, and we're going to take a look just as you kind of took these commanding fights through in the middle of the map. So we are going to play from around this mark, and we're going to take a look at these engagements. I want you to talk me through your feelings here. It was by no means completely in the bag. You felt like you had a bit of a lead. Were you nervous going in with these engagements?
Well, I think that's the main reason why I was able to win, because I didn't feel terribly nervous. And a lot of times in those situations, I would feel bad and kind of just fumble and move everything in, and then the 5 middle and skill everything. But I was feeling quite confident myself in the situation. Didn't think too much. Just trying to focus on the game rather than on the consequence of winning or losing. And I think that's what really is one of the main issues, especially foreigners have, that in situations like that, you start thinking too much about what's coming after the game rather than keeping to focus on the game itself.
Just keeping that deadly serious focus. And we saw it here as you did close that game out in the next few moments. So that was a very, very beautiful finish from there. It did close out. Let's throw it back to you, Sean.
Thank you very much, Pig. Thank you very much, TLO, Deutschland's bester gamer. Yeah.
You give me too much credit.
I'll be completely honest with you, TLO. I was watching that. I'm like, yeah, it's really nice and stuff. Like, okay, let me think of something funny to say. How much German do I know? And I came up with that. So it was a good 3 minutes worth of thinking, but I finally got there. Thank you very much for that, TLO, and best of luck in the next match. In the winners match, you'll be playing in game number 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket to once again fully confirm where we are in the tournament. Here we are. It is a Laser versus TLO. Zerg represent in the winners match there. Terran versus Terran is going to be our next match here. Major versus Polt. Major's got a bit of a difficult game coming up because the champion is not out yet. He plays in the elimination game. That's going to be coming up in the next couple of minutes. Major versus Polt.